So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the TI-NSpire CX CAS to take derivatives and also to solve a system of linear equations. So to take derivatives, let's look at the function y of x equals, let's use b times x squared times e to the minus x plus c times x. I'm going to do this as squared times e to the minus x. And I'm going to change this to cubed. And then plus e times x times e to the minus x. To find a derivative, you would normally come over here, do menu, calculus, then derivative. You would then just specify with respect to what variable and the function. However, if you remember the example, wanted the third and fourth derivatives. So an easier way is to just type in derivative, D-E-R-I-V. And then parentheses. Now we're going to type in our function. And it's very important that you do the multiplication. So we want b times x to the third power. Now the reason it's important to put that multiplication there is if you don't, the calculator is going to read it as bx, one variable, where our variable here is x. And then times e to the minus x. Then we had plus c times x squared times e to the minus x. Then we had plus e times x times e to the minus x. What happened? Everything was still an exponent of this e, so I have to start over. So plus e times x times e to the minus x. So once you have your function typed in, you now have to specify with respect to what variable, so we're doing it with respect to x. And now the advantage of typing in derivative like this is we can now specify an order of derivative. So I wanted the third derivative. So hit enter, and here's our derivative. Now you'd have to scroll up, that's now highlighted, and then use your arrow key. You can now scroll over so you can see the whole derivative. As you can see, it is so long that it cannot fit on the screen. We now wanted the fourth derivative. Well, we could retype in this whole nightmare, or we can highlight this derivative, hit enter, scroll all the way over, delete that 3, and now type in 4. This will now give us the fourth derivative, and hit enter, and there's our fourth derivative. Again, you'd have to scroll up so you can scroll and see the whole thing. Now we wish to look at how to solve a system of equations. So the system that we're going to solve will be negative 3b is equal to negative 1. 18b minus 2c is equal to 0, and negative 18b plus 6c minus e is equal to 0. Negative 18b negative 18b plus 6c minus e is equal to 0. So this is the system we're solving right here. So there's a very easy way to do this using the techniques of linear algebra. I will not go over the theory of that here. Take a standard linear algebra class to see it. I'm just going to show you how you enter it into a calculator and then how to read it. So what we want to do is we want to set up a matrix. So we're going to come over, menu, 7 matrix, and what is it, vectors. We want to create a matrix. The number of rows you want is the number of equations in the system, in this case 3. The number of columns you want is the number of unknowns plus 1. In this case we have 3 unknowns, so we want 4 columns. For the first row, we look at the first equation and we enter the coefficients. So negative 3, 0, 0, and then it equals negative 1. And you do the same thing. Second row is the second equation. Third row is the third equation. And there's our matrix. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do R, R, E, F in parentheses. We then hit the up arrow, so we highlight the matrix, hit enter, hit enter. So to interpret this matrix, this would say that our first unknown, in this case B, is equal to a third. Our second unknown, which was C, is equal to 3. And our fourth unknown, which was E, is equal to 12. If you go back and you look at the last example we did in the previous lesson, you'll see that this is indeed the solution that I wrote down, and this is how I got it.